Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. Yeah, I think it's the March 8th. Yeah, we're in the 8th of March. Who's doing the 8th? With those sunglasses, Bobby probably is. Good morning, Bobby.
No, no eights this morning.
Oh,
Lots of
no.
driving. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
How was the drive? You drove from, so you guys left from where? From New York and went straight to Carolina?
No, I'm in Quantico, I think, Virginia. Like where
Teasing.
they Yeah, no, I know. I thought it was gonna be like Norm from Cheers when I got here. They're gonna be like, Bobby's here.
Pow, pow,
You know this guy
pow.
from all of his tweets and phone calls where he's constantly saying things that could get him in trouble.
Yeah. He's entertaining and crazy, unlike Steel Toe in the morning. Pow, 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 and the stupid forehead wife. Pow, 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 pow. Take that, bitches. Yeah. The best thing that ever happened to Compound Media, now it's not there anymore. Pow, 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 pow. The words expressed on this podcast are Pat Oates and Pat Oates alone, and not by anybody else. Pow, 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 pow. I cover, my friend. Anyway, but that's cool. So, wait, did you have a show last night, or just get there last night?
No, I just drove here. My parents were like, "You're never gonna make it to North Carolina in one day," and it's like it's a 9 hour trip.
Yeah.
I could do that with my eyes closed, but
Did
they
you?
freaked out. No, I'm fucking in Quantico halfway there because they had a meltdown at 10 o'clock last night, so I got in the car.
I have done the drive to North Carolina to Raleigh. My mom lives in North Carolina, but also I was at a comedy festival a couple years ago. And what up, Aaron? And so yeah, it's a 9 hour drive. And once you're in Carolina, Carolina's big and it's weird, and there's cities and there's also sticks. You're driving through one thing and then you're through another. It's wacky how it just changes its climate there. But yeah, you're better off doing what you did. Going, you could have made the whole ride, but whatever. You take a break. You get there today. You're rested. You're not cranky. It's good stuff.
Yeah, but I got here at 3 a.m. last night.
Oh,
I got up
are
at
you still
7 to
lonely?
do this. Yeah, exactly. But like it really just fucked me, to be honest. Like I got no sleep last night. I'm gonna get no sleep. But it'll work. Whatever. As long as my 80-year-old fucking parents are happy. Doesn't matter about the person actually doing the driving.
I got home at 1 a.m. because I had a comedy show at Mohegan Sun. And before the show, a guy who was one of the bringer comics, he had gotten there early because Robert Kelly's doing the weekend at comics. So he was watching Robert Kelly. And the guy came up to me, and the guy seems like he had a lot of libations during the Robert Kelly show before he was going to do our show. And he came, I know the guy, not well, but well enough. And he goes, Bad Oats, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, this is not the energy you bring to when you're about to be on a bringer. And he goes, I fucking watched you and that other guy, and you had Pop staring on. It was fucking great, man. I fucking watched the Pop. You know that one? I'm like, yeah, I know that one. I was on it. I know that one.
The,
I was
the one
there.
from yesterday?
Yeah, the one from the last one we did, but also the one that I was on. Yeah, I know that one. And he goes, that's fucking nuts, man. I wish someday I could do that. And I'm like, you want to be on one? And he goes, are you fucking kidding? And he's screaming in his way. And I'm like, all right, yeah, dude, we'll just talk later. But then he got real drunk throughout the show. And when it was time for me to have him go on stage next, I couldn't find him. The bar was super packed. The place was super packed. There was like 100 people there, but I couldn't find him. And then the next comic, who goes by the cool name of Johnny Rotten, who also has seen the podcast before, he was like, he showed up instead. He goes, I could go next. I go, yeah, you might have to, Johnny Rotten. And but a minute before, I was
I'm
about to
gonna
take
warn you
off.
about me, Pat. I'm a bit of a anarchist.
Bobby, if you watch this man's act, how do you know that he talks about the name he has for himself and he tells you that he's rotten? Johnny Rotten. Ah. And he wears a trench coat and he tells people he's going to kick him in the ding dong, which I was like, if your name's Johnny Rotten, say cock. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're he's like, nah, but I do clean shows. I go, then don't be Johnny Rotten. Be your real name. He's like, I don't like my real name. I'm like, well, then be Johnny Sunshine. He goes, that could be something. But anyway, so the other guy, he comes in like Kramer, busted in. I go, oh, good, you're here. I couldn't find you before. He goes, whatever, Pat Oates, whatever. Now he just like, oh god, now he's just drunk. He went up there, he
Yeah,
went over
buddy.
his time. He was just yelling. They played the music and they cut his mic, and I had to go out and get him.
Because he
So
was
that guy
killing
will be
so
on.
hard he didn't see the light.
That's what it was. Oh, by the way, there was supposed to be another guy on the show. What up, Jim? Bobby's not chewing tobacco. He's just in tobacco country. It's just a different thing. That's all. But we oh no, and someone's missing you on. Wow, they're missing you from a couple things.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a while back. I don't know if you know about that show, person, but there's other updates too. All the other people on that show either died or fucking died in the eyes of Compound. I would go watch that show, the posthumous comedy show of the former other hosts, not Garrett and you, Bobby. That would be a fun show. Pat Dixon, Crippleodian, and you. That'd be a great show.
That'd be a hell of a show. Even Pat or Dave Landau subbed in one time, so that we can get him to do a guest spot because somebody's gonna have to move tickets on that fucking show.
Yes. Well, I tell you right now, if I knew that the headliner was going to be a guy in a wheelchair who died a while ago, I'd go. That would sell some tickets. It's like,
I mean, in the scale of having to weekend from Bernie somebody, the guy who could only move a finger is going to be the easiest one to pull off.
right. But getting the remains, that's the video you want to see before the show. How you made it happen. The behind the music, if you will. I want to see that.
You're going to have to go to Patreon to get that footage.
Yeah.
That's not going to get on
that's
YouTube.
Definitely pay to play. That's definitely what that one is. But yeah, so this guy is fired up and ready to be on the show sometime. So
Yeah,
be ready for
the
him to
fact that
come
he
on.
said the show you did, you, Pops they're in, and that other guy. I need to know
knows
when
Pops,
he's on.
That's why.
Okay, yeah. Well, he's going to remember Bobby.
I don't think he's gonna be on the show, Bob. It's like, I don't think that's gonna be a solid book. He's probably watching now, going, "I did what?" It's like whatever. Yes, R.I.P. to the Crip.
Yeah, Rip Crip.
Jeffrey. Yeah. So he made an album with a great label, and you should go get that album. If you haven't heard the album yet, you go listen it somewhere, buy that album. Great label. I hear they've got great artists on that label. Tremendous ones. Hilarious ones. So good.
A couple.
Me.
And a couple of real shitty ones like me.
Me.
So.
Me. Shitty. No one's shittier than that, Bobby? Shittier than you and me? Steel toe in the morning. I'm from Minnesota. My wife's mediocre, but she's hot in Minnesota.
I mean, a Minnesota 10. There's something to be said about that.
Bobby, I don't know about this trend. They're doing it. What's the F for Crip?
Oh, that's like paying your respects. It's a video game thing. From the world Crip would have been in. Yeah.
I thought that was him with his wheelchair turned over because it
It looked like an F.
And I'm not insulting him. That man would have liked that joke. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah.
He would have
Yeah.
enjoyed that joke. It's a it's a flipped up wheelchair.
Just because Epstein's been in the news so much, my favorite joke of his was what?
I was like, he has not. You made it up, but go ahead.
But my favorite joke of Crips from that album was like Epstein did more for handicapped people than like all these activists. He's like, you ever build a wheelchair ramp for your sex pedophile island? That's dedication to the community.
It is.
Good.
But you're building it so one person can. They don't build it two ramps so they both can collide. It's for one abled and one not abled. Yeah, you can't.
It was the exact width of one chair.
Yeah,
you have to fucking back out.
Before we bring in our guests, for people that are new to the show, we've been covering extensively. We are the #1 source for your Charlotte the Stingray, the pregnant stingray that has no papa to the baby news. We're covering it. Other news sources have jumped in after us, but we, since day one of POS Mornings, for about a month now, have been covering this story. Now, is there any update? No. Charlotte the Stingray, still pregnant, no pups yet. For those who don't know, quick update again. Charlotte the Stingray is a stingray that has been in captivity in an aquarium. By the way, we're going to learn a lot about this aquarium. This is something I found out today that I did not know. Because I had one vision, and we're going to learn something else. And you're going to be able to add to that when you're in North Carolina later, and you can tell us if this matches the heat that you're getting from North Carolina and how they feel. The stingray was in captivity with all sharks. No stingray at all. It was there for 8 years. Then all of a sudden, mysteriously became pregnant. They thought maybe a shark fucked it. They thought maybe it was Jesus coming down for like Jesus 2, but it really is just a splitting of parthenogenesis. I'm happy I'm getting that word down every time. I'm not even looking at notes anymore. And it's a splitting of the cells that can sometimes once in a while when mother is not around to have any children can make one themselves. So a couple children are going to come out. People have been waiting in line. This aquarium and all the surrounding businesses have been going nuts. It's been pandemonium. People going to stare at a pregnant fucking starfish. They're not sure when the baby's going to come yet. But NPR has now covered this. So you know it's going to be good stuff. Now NPR has said that they what's it called right here? The founder. We didn't learn about her. The founder of the aquarium, Team Echo, Brenda Raymer. She started this aquarium in her kitchen in 2001. So
Seems about right.
The thought I had at first was Boston Aquarium, Mystic Aquarium, big ass aquarium. The aquarium is big enough, Bobby, that said in NPR, big enough that you or I could kneel in it, but small enough to still be a good decoration in a Chinese restaurant. Quote unquote. NPR.
That was the best comparison NPR could come up with.
NPR can ruin something so quick and make it so boring. There's basically the second coming of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but in starfish edition or stingray edition or whatever. But instead, they're like, yeah, he lives in a shit tank. But you know who else lived in a shitty situation? Jesus, the manger. So there you go. I already think we can push that. He's being born in times where he shouldn't be born. And also, this guy, I don't know tank size. It's 2,200 gallons. Doesn't sound that fucking huge. You know, you can kneel in it, all that kind of shit there. Raymer was a former school teacher. And Bobby, here's the quote that we can go off on, and we'll bring someone who I feel like will help with this. Her mission was to bring excitement about marine biology to the North Carolina mountain kids. Mountain kids. Yeah, this aquarium is in Appalachian mountain territory where people are driving out a long fucking way to go stare at it. This makes so much more sense now, this story, that people are staring at a pregnant thing, that it's in the fucking mountains. Makes so much more sense to me. So who is the piece of shit in this story? Is it this Brenda Raymer? She's a former teacher who decided, fuck that, I'm smarter than the teachers at the Appalachian Mountain Schools, which she probably is, but so is everyone else in Little House on the Prairie. All you have to be able to do is have all your teeth and form 6 words, and you're the principal. So is it her for saying, I'll just start my own aquarium? I know it usually takes marine biologists and smart people. I'm a hillbilly. I'll just start an aquarium in a tank that basically you and I can take a bath in. The same thing Michael Jackson used to lay down in before he died. That size of a tank. And putting sharks in it in a fucking stingray. I can't visualize how they all fit in there. Of course they fucked. How could they not fuck? They're back to back the whole fucking way.
Fucking
Maybe
stacked up.
In now is a little bigger and they're not telling us that part of the story, but this is the story that NPR had covered. Is it this woman for doing that? Is it NPR for taking this story that we've covered for weeks and making it boring as fuck? Saturday Night Live has covered it. Fucking every news place has done it. Good Morning America, whatever. They've all made it fun, loving. They've drawn attention. This made it so boring that I don't even think people are going to go to the pet shop. Fish on Fins, sponsor of the show, maybe, I don't know. Fish on Fins in Appalachian, North Carolina, where they had newt babies being born. 15 of them, people visited that while they had baby fever waiting for these other things. Is it me for continuously pushing this story when there's no reason? I don't know why we need to be. We're a piece of shit show. We're called a piece of shit. We talk about shitty stuff. Why are we covering Charlotte the Stingray's birth over and over? Is it because Bobby and I get up early, we stare at stories for about an hour and try to find something, and it's very simple to just keep going to the same story? And I think even post-birth, it'll be easy to keep talking about that. I can't wait for Charlotte the Stingray updates to teen years. It's going to be crazy there. Who is the piece of shit in the story? Bobby, go first.
For me, it's Brenda's husband. Because you know this started out as Brenda.
There is a Mr. Raymer? This feels like a lesbian move.
No, 1,000%. It was like, yeah, Brenda, go do your little fucking aquarium thing. And then one day he was like, hey, I need you to pick up the kids. And she was like, I can't. I got to take care of my aquarium. And he was like, that's not really an aquarium. Nobody comes. And he was drunk watching beer. That's why he couldn't get the kids. And he was like, Brenda, see, if you did like this Maury thing, people watch Maury. People care about Maury. And she was like, I wonder if I combine these two, if I could get the entertainment of Maury and the excitement of aquatic fish. So for me, I'm blaming her husband for giving her the idea to fake a pregnancy.
So you think that this is still fake? You still believe that this thing is not pregnant?
So I think what happened was her husband was about 9 PBRs deep, watching Maury and yelling at her that she wasn't as successful as the guy who revealed baby daddies on TV, and she was like, "I'll fucking show you."
Right. No, and I got the funness of that, but in reality, you have stayed pretty strong to that. This is not real. When everyone else is like, "Yeah, we've done ultrasounds. This stingray is pregnant."
Okay, so it might be real, but what I think is happening is they're overhyping the rarity of the pathogenesis. Like, I'm guessing this happens all the time in nature, and they're pretending like it's a Jesus stingray. I think that's where the fakeness lies.
I think that's more us than anyone else. No one else has really been pushing the Jesus Stingray line more than you and I. Most news stories don't even go near that one. I just like adding it because it's either shark stingray fuck action or science.
Are you sure about that? I've read a lot of Jesus stingray literature.
I think it's me texting you, dude. Have you heard about the Jesus Stingray? Yeah, Jesus Stingray. Woo! Pow, 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 pow. You know, it looks like a Jesus Stingray.
Our guest?
Head. Steel's forehead looks like that. Yeah. Pow, pow, pow. No, our guest doesn't look like that. Our guest is beautiful. Our guest is friend of the show, comedian, and friend to us, Dan Brown. Everybody, hello, Dan.
Also a marine biologist.
Yeah. Ooh, and also been in the mountains.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you hear the story at all we were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I heard you say that they ultrasound a stingray. Like, how does that even work? Like,
I'm the thing, and you rub it on its stupid belly, and you go, "Oh, you're pregnant." It's got pumps.
Oh, I was thinking like you'd have to go inside one of those little tubes, like a CAT scan thing.
But no, that's silly. It's a stingray.
You can turn your mic up a little bit. That would help out if you could do that, Dan. But and also, if you heard her say, "Who is the piece of shit in this story?" If you could weigh in, please.
I feel like most people are. I mean, I don't know. At first, I was gonna say like maybe the stingray just got fat, and people were like, "Oh, are you pregnant?" And it was just scandalizing the stingray. But I mean, I guess if they did the test and the freaking stingray actually is pregnant, I don't know if there's a piece of shit. Maybe everybody's just a piece of shit for gawking.
I think Jim's being a piece of shit in the morning for saying that you just murdered a man. You're about to cry. Why would you cry after the murder? You murdered. You'd probably be pretty happy you murdered people, right?
If I murdered somebody that I like, maybe I don't know. I don't want to give too much away.
I always forget that you can murder someone that you like.
Yeah, or what if it was like an accidental murder?
Yeah.
Oops.
Like I was just cleaning my gun, and then things happen.
Or like if you yelled taser, 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 and then shot a dude 9 times. That oops, accident.
I don't have a story on it, but I've been following the whole court case of the armorer from the Alec Baldwin Rust thing, whatever. That just came to a close. And I don't know if you guys have been following it at all, but when the defense finally had to call in experts to prove how this lady wasn't the reason it was wrong, they brought this guy in. Dude, it's fucking the best videos. This guy came in, and he was supposed to be showing about safety. So to show them, he brought a gun in a bag, and they're kind of like, he's on the stand, and they're like, just got to show us it's not loaded. So he turns and he aims it at the judge, and the fucking bailiff has to like this right away, like, what are you doing? And he's like, isn't it true that you're supposed to, when you carry the muzzle should always be pointing down at all times on set? Loaded, not loaded, that's just gun safety. He goes, no, that's not true at all. You could point it in the air. You could point it behind you. Dude, the comments on TikTok are like, behind you? What the fuck are you doing? Why would you just shoot him? This is the gun safety. That girl is now going to do 3 years of jail. Not just because of this guy, but basically this one guy who was the witness. He was like showing the craziness that she learned from him. And it was like he was done. But he was like, he had the gun there. And they're like, stop pointing it at the judge and at us. He's like, come on, it's fine. Just a gun.
Wow.
They had the dude from the circus who does all his trick shots as their expert testimony. Yeah, you can shoot behind your head, behind your back. You just got to know what you're doing.
They had all these gun safety experts and prop experts and all these guys who worked on movie sets all coming in saying everything she did was wrong from the prosecution side. When the defense came in, they were basically like, hey, we call John Wick to the stand. It's like, just comes in, just doing flips and shit. It's great. The piece of shit, back to the story real quick. The piece of shit in this story is NPR. Because, man, have I been excited about Charlotte the Stingray. I've been enjoying this story. It's been a fun, light morning. We've been trying to do a morning thing and not be nuts. It's been a fun morning show. We're obviously mocking and making fun of morning radio and morning TV shows and things of that nature. It's been fun to give a shit about an animal and a feel-good story and shit on it and make it like that. That's what Bobby and I kind of wanted to bring to the table. We're kind of happy this story happened when we started doing this. We can do the other things. It's been great. Way to NPR to really nerd the shit out of it and tell me the size of the tank and the fucking woman's lore. I don't give a fuck. A stingray got fucked by a shark. I don't care what you tell me. That's what happened. Shark stingray sex. And I've been saying this forever. It's going to be born. It's going to be a shark and a stingray half and half. And he's not going to be Shark Stingray. He's going to be Ray Shark, baby, attorney at law in an aquarium. And he's going to have a trench coat and a little hat. And he's going to solve crimes and shit and also be an attorney. That's what he's going to be. And I would go visit him in the tank whenever.
Oy vey, the temperature of this water is so cold.
Wait, why is he Jewish? He lives in the mountains.
You said he was going to be a lawyer.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I think the lawyers up there are more like hillbilly smart. You know what I mean? Are there Jewish people in the Appalachian Mountains?
Not if the Klan's doing their job.
Oh, my God. Good morning, everybody. They're not doing that on Steel Toe. Boom, 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 boom. He's not outside a kill room. What are these comments? I'll go back to this one where I like a cancelable records thing. They're doing good stuff. You are correct, sir. But, yeah. I've been enjoying this wonderful, lovely story. I think it's great. I can't wait for the birth. We were hoping that Bobby was going to be there. Yeah, no, you need to enjoy that, Bobby. We were hoping that Bobby was going to be able to be live, but Bobby found out that where he's doing his shows is not where people have no teeth. It's where people have some teeth. So Bobby will be way too far away from the Appalachian Mountains this weekend to go visit Charlotte the Stingray. But Bobby, if you could, and if you can't, I completely understand. But maybe before the shows, or more possibly after the shows, when people are walking out and saying good job, maybe you can ask, you'll record it, just let us know. Ask some people, hey, we're in the state of Charlotte the Stingray. What do you feel about it? And I want everyone to be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm hoping that's going to be the answer. But it'll be great if one person's like, oh my God, they get excited. That'd be good if we could get some word on the street shit.
You know, if we get like a real North Carolina native, the answer is going to be like, am I surprised a stingray's pregnant and they don't know who the daddy is in Hendersonville? No, that's what happens in Hendersonville. You get pregnant and you don't know who the daddy is.
Yeah. I mean, they go,
I'm just happy it's a fish for once. Me?
Yeah. Have you ever seen a stingray? The front smart part is white, but the back part is black, and that's the one that got pregnant.
That is the people of North Carolina, especially Appalachia, too. Now, what in the hell?
Now, Bobby, can I ask you a question? And Dan, I'm asking you the same question. You can both answer this. You can both not answer it. We can just prove how dumb I am. Did either one of you know that the Appalachian Mountains were in North Carolina?
No, you go, I guess.
Dan, you go.
I did, because I used to like research the Appalachian Trail, and they go all the way from Maine down to Georgia.
Is that a song?
No, but
feels like it should be.
Yeah, sure.
Is that where Bigfoot is?
If only we knew somebody with a guitar.
Bigfoot, people make Bigfoot reports all over the world, Pat. Like, I'm sure, like, there's some people that have seen a Bigfoot in the Appalachian Mountains.
I don't know if people of China.
All over the world, that's like different names, right? It's like the abominable snowman, and then like some places it's just like a woman.
Well,
I thought it was based off of the size of your penis. So in America we had Bigfoot because big dicks, and then in China they had perfectly normal sized foot.
Yeah. We got Bigfoot energy up in this America, baby. Bigfoot energy. Can we start that fucking thing? That's already. I'm sure some idiot's already done Bigfoot energy. That's got to be out there.
I saw BFE out there. Yeah.
You saw BFE?
Yeah, he's got some BFE. Bigfoot energy.
Bigfoot energy, baby. So, Bobby, did you know that Appalachia?
I did. Unfortunately, I don't believe the Appalachian Mountains are real. I don't think mountain ranges are a thing.
What?
I don't believe in shifting plate tectonics. Just because it looks like South America and Africa fit together like a puzzle doesn't mean they were actually a piece at one point. I'm supposed to believe all the landmass was in the center and then got spread out over time, but yet we're not moving today. Get fucked.
Listen, have you ever seen a woman that was thin in high school and then she's fat now? All her landmass is moved off to the side and it looks all different.
Yeah, but that's a woman, not the Earth.
Mother Earth, bitch.
I thought that just meant the weather was cunty.
Cloudy with a chance of no balls. It's a lady, baby. Oh, we
This
didn't do our
weather just
morning
starts
thing.
yelling at you for no reason.
Oh, my bad. We didn't do our morning thing. That makes us a morning show. Where is it? Hold on. And that was the story about the Appalachian Mountains. We'll be right back. I'm kidding. That's dumb. Hey, I can hit a button sometimes and just make a countdown for no reason. You get 3 seconds. So you thought you had 30 seconds to go to the bathroom. You don't have any time. You're missing out. Bobby, you
We
got a
don't
story?
follow rules.
No, we
Yeah,
are
I
the
guess
rules.
the other story that the nation's talking about this morning, in addition to Charlotte, is the State of the Union. Did either of you guys watch it?
No.
I watched
I was
it.
performing, so I didn't have a chance.
I watched it, but there were people like commenting over it and making fun of Joe Biden and stuff. And I don't know, it was kind of like hard to pay attention. Like like these people were like counting all the times that he slurred his words, and they're just kind of mocking him the whole time.
Yeah, he's an old, dumb man who's probably raped.
Yeah, they should give a State of the President before they give the State of the Union. Like, all right, today's Alzheimer's is only at a 90%, so we're hoping he has some coherency.
His diapers
What's
were
higher, the
100%
percentage
full.
of his Alzheimer's or his age? And you're like matching them up the whole time.
Oh, Alzheimer's is trending up. It's like when you used to watch the gas pump back in the day, see which number would win.
289, go!
It would have been, I think, more entertaining to watch that guy you were talking about at the beginning of the show who got hammered and you had to pull off stage while the music was playing than the President of the United States. But
Yeah, go for it.
it got done. But as everybody knows, what happens after the State of the Union is the other side gets to give their rebuttal. So usually it's a way to either pick like an up and coming young person in the party or to send a message. Whoever you choose is super important. And the message they give is pretty important too. And Kate Davis was who the Republicans chose. And I don't think she had a sincere bone in her body.
Hey, real quick, because I don't know. Kate Davis is out of what state, and what is she? Is she currently running, or is she just somebody in like Senate or
She
Congress?
is a young senator from the glorious state of Alabama.
Oh, frozen babies. Frozen babies.
Yup. But here's where the story gets interesting because, like I said, the speech is super important. And oftentimes they will hire outside people. You know, all politicians have a speechwriter, right? And lots of times they get multiple people to input. And that's where, like, Biden got accused of plagiarizing Obama's speech and all that stuff. And people were saying it was his speechwriters. He's sitting outside the kill room. All right, I mean, that's possible. Dan. I wonder if Jim knows about Dan's Holocaust of bees. But anyway, Kate Davis gave this speech. It's super important.
Because it took me a second because you said it and it felt like one word. I'm like, is that like a fancier word for the Holocaust? Holocaust of bees. It's like, is that like the Applebee's for the Holocaust? It's like you go to this restaurant. It's like, I'll take 2 Auschwitz specials, please. Like, oh, here are Holocaust of bees.
When
you're here, you're family.
When you're here, you better be Catholic, motherfucker.
Holocaust abilities. What was that?
The Holocaust abilities are endless.
When you're here, we kill your family.
When you're here, it's not for long.
But so Kate Davis gave a rebuttal to...
Pops.
What up, Pops? Kate Davis gave a rebuttal to the State of the Union, and it wasn't great, but the news that's kind of coming out about it now, and I've seen this through several sources like Politico and TMZ, is I guess the Republican Party reached out to America's sweetheart right now to see if he would be willing to help punch up the speech. That's right. Shane Gillis was reached out to by the Republican Party to see if he would help punch up Kate Davis's speech.
That can't be real. This is the Bobby Fake story of the day.
Google it, dude. It's in Politico, Reuters. Right now, it is coming out that they reached out. I think, obviously, he declined. He said all along he wasn't a Republican. The joke's been that he's slipping into Republican being a Republican. But who's the piece of shit in this story? Is it the Republican Party for trying to capitalize? I mean, we saw people do it with the shark, right? They took the Stingray story we did. Anytime something's in the news, people try to jump on it. SNL did it. We did it. Why wouldn't the Republican Party try to capitalize on it? He's from Pennsylvania, after all. Is it Shane? Why turn down a payday? He could have slipped in some very, very funny jokes, right? Imagine if he called Biden a political fag, or something along those lines, like he did on his podcast. I think it would be very funny if he slipped one of those into the speech. Or is it America? Because the only reason that anybody would have cared about the State of the Union and the rebuttal would have been if Shane Gillis had written against, say, Nimesh Patel. Pat, you've been on the longest, so we'll kick it to you first.
All right, first of all, it's not Jim, because Jim is killing it. Jim is already saying he's got more Holocaust of Bees stories than Dan. So we're going to have a Holocaust of Bees off sometime. We're going to have Jim on anyway. So, Bob, you got to reach out to Jim sometime to see if he can come on. But, yeah. I
think Holocaust of Bees is my favorite book of the Bible, the Old Testament, because Holocaust of Bees, Songs of Solomon.
From Matthew to the Holocaust of Bees. And, by the way, Jim did say he thinks Dan is cool. So, whatever. It's all fun here on this wonderful show. It's morning. It's not Shane Gillis. I personally believe I'm not really political in any way, but I have done one or two little local level of shows for politicians or things of that nature. I have not actually ended up performing, but I've been talking about it. They don't really like to give out too much money. They kind of feel like you're helping out a cause and doing that stuff like that, and it's good for you. They play like when you first start doing comedy and someone's like, oh, I know there's no pay, but the exposure is good. Like, I've been told that. Like, when I was on a morning radio show a bunch all the time and I was getting good exposure, a woman once reached out to me and said, if you do this comedy contest we're in, you could possibly win, the amount of money you'd normally get paid to get paid. You're paid to perform. And I'm like, well, why would I do that? Why would I just not get a paid gig? And she goes, the exposure. Because there's one news channel that might cover it. And if they do, and you win, they might show your picture. And I go, that's the worst exposure I've ever heard of all time. Why would I do that? And that's the same thing with Shane Gillis. Hey, buddy, I know you're starting to become an up-and-coming comic, and I've kind of heard of you because they're old fossils over there in the Republican Party. And they're like, maybe you can get good exposure. Anyway, like, I know who Shane is. I don't know who Kate Davis is. If you ask everyone in America, even politicians, more of them will know Shane before Kate. They'll be able to point Shane out in a picture. They should, if they're going to get Shane, have Shane do it. Don't have fucking Kate Davis go on. You want the Republican Party to seem cool? Joe Biden talks, and then Shane's behind a podium, and he gives his State of the Union. Dude, that would be amazing. Him coming out and doing that, or any cop. You know who I would like to see do that, and I know he wouldn't go Republican? Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon would have been amazing as the rebuttal to that, but he could do it on both sides too. Someone should be.
He should be the third
president. That would be amazing. Him in the debates, that would be incredible. It's not him. It's not the Republican Party either. Because I get it. You got to come back. They want to look cool and hip because the Democratic Party is old, whatever. And they also know that Trump is cool to some, but polarizing to others. So they're like, let's get some help. Let's get some punching up. But it's not like Kate would have said this joke is from Shane. It did come out like you said, which is great, but it's not like people would know in the moment. So, like, it's kind of weird that they would go that route, but I get why they went that route. It's not Joe Biden. It's not his fault where they cart him. We've mentioned Weekend at Bernie's once already. That's what this whole presidency is. They're just wheeling him out. Last week on Saturday Night Live, they actually made a joke about that. The whole thing was about people saying, all the people that work for Biden were saying, like, he's never been cooler and hipper and quicker. And then they kept showing clips where he wasn't that. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, he's been doing mad push-ups all day. He's just banging ladies. He's fucking dope. They even had a fake Draymond Green guy come out and go, me and him fucking ball. He's a fucking dog, son. Like, they've been bagging on him for not having any energy, anything. It's the political system in this world in America right now. It's ridiculous that we get the State of the Union address from a 90-year-old piece of shit. You know what I mean? There are so many. That is a perfect job for a younger politician who can be articulate and start to get in front of America. I know it's the President's State of the Union, but fuck the president's part. Give me a young 35-year-old politician, man, woman, whatever, from each party coming out. They each get 30 minutes to say the state of the union. What is happening in America right now, according to this side and that side? And there, if you watch that, you can go, hey, I kind of like the cut of this person's jib, or I like the way she fucking gives me a point and talks about stuff. I would vote for her later. I now know who she is. It's a way to see your young rookies and not just your grizzled vets. You know what I mean? Give me that. I don't want to hear Joe talk, because Joe's not going to tell me what I want. I want to hear someone who still gives a fuck, and the few people in the world that believe in the system. That just should be there. And if they want Shane to write for him, great. Shane can have one, Nate Bargatze can write the other. You've got two different points, and you're going after it. I mean, I think if it was me, I would get Wanda Sykes to write both of them. Just be a wild black lesbian woman coming through the voice of like an old-ass man, like Mitch McConnell doing Wanda Sykes jokes. That'd be great.
Why come we can't secure the borders?
I ask you, why we can't? Why come?
Excuse me, is that supposed to be ASK? I think that's supposed to be ASK. That might have been a typo.
She comes
I
out
like
and
your...
Biden just goes, thanks, Queen Latifah. I was like, that is not who I am.
Hey, Miss Pat, I love your work. Hell no, honey.
Dude, they don't know who Miss Pat is. That'd be wild if Biden's like, all I watch is BET.
Kamala, how much goddamn weight you put on, Kamala?
I watch the Bet channel all the time. I love Bet. I've bet on the blacks my whole life.
I think if we should make gambling legal across this country. All I watch is Bet. And it's full of black people. We get rid of gambling, we're hurting the blacks. That was my Biden impression.
Black man named Corn Pop. I used to bet on him all the time. I bet he was gonna die of sickle cell.
Always bet on black, baby. I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it with the idea of after these debates, or like where one party speaks and another party speaks. You know when you play Cards Against Humanity and sometimes you'll just throw a random in, so you as the group have to beat the random to prove you earned it? Tim Dillon would be the perfect random for every debate. He's just the third mic there, and they have to out-debate Tim. And if they can't do that, they're not qualified to be president.
Right, and that's where, unfortunately or fortunate, depending on what side you go on, that's where Trump would get back in. Because Trump can hang. It'd be great for Trump to go, you're gay, and then Tim goes, yeah. He goes, you're fat. He goes, yeah.
So are you.
He's like, yeah, you're right. He's like, oh, and then they become friends. It's like a buddy movie. They're fighting at first.
They start ganging up on Biden.
Trump Dillon card. Dillon vice president, unstoppable.
Now,
unstoppable.
What if Biden, inspired by Tim Dillon, decides to get a Dillon of his own, and we get Dylan Mulvaney versus Tim Dillon as a debate? That would be the greatest thing in the world.
Well, here's the thing, too. I'm saying the Tim Dillon thing, and everyone knows it's a joke. Dude, if the AI bot makes a short this week off this one, the one you put out where it just takes random shit, and that comes out, the DNC is going to hear that, and that's going to be a real discussion. They're going to go, well, what if we do? People talked about Oprah possibly doing it. People love this Dylan Mulvaney show. She's all against them. We can do it, and they can be in there, and we cover all the bases. We get the girl vote, we get the guy vote, we get the girl guy vote, we get all the votes right there. And then Biden's like, what the fuck are you? What happened to that other one? Carmela Hayes, whatever, the one that my other vice president.
Carmela, you need to get back out in the sun. You got so white, Michelle.
Yeah, I need you to be like Big Mike. I need you to be dark as hell and get a cock.
You're not the first lady with a dick I've met.
You want Big Mike. You need Michelle Obama, but you can't get her with a dick and being black. So you just get Dylan Mulvaney and you get black. Dude, if they blackface Dylan Mulvaney, that would be like Soul Man too. But it's like Soul Soul Man with a question mark would be the fucking best.
I got a cock man.
I got a cock man. Dude, he dies and Dylan Mulvaney is president of the United States.
Secretary of Defense Gillis. It turns out just to be the whole Budweiser team. Our national infrastructure is just Clydesdales.
Do you know who the head of security is?
Secretary of Defense?
Rock, baby.
Oh.
He's a gun taking people out. Yeah.
I am kid. Dan,
She's
I don't know.
No cock.
Dan, I don't know if you're super political, but who do you think's the piece of shit in this story?
I mean, probably the person that, because aren't like Democrats more likely to be all PC and stuff? So like
Not
whoever,
anymore. No, not for like the last 10 years. No, not at all.
then never mind.
No,
That might be that might be your dyslexia though, Dan, because a lot of Democrats are known for having CP.
Colored people.
Nope.
That's crazy.
There was this whole place where they'd get pizza and play ping pong. CP stands for child porn. That's what I was going for, Dan. Anyway, you're up. Continue your through point, buddy.
It's not, you're not wrong. In that that's usually the thought of being liberal and then being able to speak their mind a little more and stuff like that. But it's become now so compartmentalized that they're the ones who now say, you're black, you're Asian, so you better do Asian things, you better do black. They become like so open-minded they stop saying everyone's equal, and now they're saying everyone should get equality because of what they are. And it's flipped halfway. They've kind of both turned, like, no one gives a fuck about anybody anymore, to be fair. Like, they just care about making money. No, they've proven that neither side gives a fuck about humans at all. But
the woke mob is Democratic for the most part, Dan.
Yeah, you're right. Because they don't know where to, because they hate Trump too much to switch, but they don't like old white men either. You know what I mean? A woke mob, last thing they want is a Joe Biden near them.
Oh yeah, they're not happy about him either. Dan, who do you got? Who's your piece of shit, other than us for interrupting you when we finally worked you back in?
And trying to teach you politics, we're retarded. It should be us.
I mean, I have a degree in it, but it's from a school that molested kids, so who cares?
I don't really know if there's a piece of shit. I mean, I feel like if Republicans are more likely to talk in silly Asian voices than maybe the person who thought of Shane Gillis, because like I don't know, it just seems kind of redundant.
Shane is so much more than Asian voice. And by the way, I'm not trying to once again be a dick. I'm not saying that we're the ones who first covered Charlotte the Stingray, but I'm saying that. But I'm definitely saying I was doing Asian voice way before Shane was. That's all I'm saying.
And have continued to do so. A lot of people ran away from the voices. Yeah. You've leaned into it.
I got a new joke about a baby named Bruce, and he can't even say his own name. He's like, Bruce Wee. And I'm like, he's being Asian the entire time. I'm like,
hell yeah.
Like, yeah. Asians hate that joke. Anyway.
They do? I thought they'd be all on board.
Well, they seemed mad, but they kept bowing. So I'm like, are you on board or not? What is happening here?
When they say stop Asian hate, is that what they meant? Stop
Yes,
the Asians hating on your jokes. For me, the piece of shit in this story is the Democratic Party. Biden is giving your State of the Union. Pull a fire alarm. You've done this to get out of votes. Like, do something to prevent this man from talking for that much time straight. I'm not saying you can't deliver the whole speech, but halfway through, you need to either, oh my God, he's got a gun, something along those lines to get people to evacuate that room and allow the president to reset tomorrow. One time when we... Go ahead, Dan, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it sounded like people were heckling the shit out of him. Like, people were like, liar! Like, they're just yelling. I think one guy had to be removed at one point. So, I mean, they were definitely trying to interrupt him.
Oh, I meant the opposite way, though. Like, get this man a break. Get him some heat off the stage. One time we were out of timeouts in 5th grade basketball, and one kid's dad hit the lights in the gym so we could get a quick TV timeout and win the game. Like, you got to do something. Protect your team. The other side's going to go hire Shane. I don't know. That's my piece of shit.
But, Bobby, if they turned the lights off on Joe Biden, A, he would shit his pants, and then B, he would take a nap. And then the camera would come back on, he'd have shitty pants, and he'd be napping. And you can't... I would like that, and I would watch politics way more if that was happening, but you can't turn the lights out on a man who's waiting for the lights to really go out.
I like how he's like a bird in a cage. You just put a blanket over it, and he goes to sleep. Like, you can't...
I mean, he really is. He's got the attention span, too. But just on the whole, like, this was the most powerful person in the world speaking last night, and none of us could have cared. Like, we got to find a way to make the State of the Union more interesting. What if we got to shoot paintballs at him? Like, for however many votes your state got in electoral votes, you got that many paintballs in your gun. And at a random point, you could just shoot them at the president. Or, the other side gets a taser. And at one point, they get to go tase him. But somebody from the Democrats gets to try to stop him.
I vote put him in a dunking booth because he's old and frail.
Great idea. He should give the speech from a dunking booth. That's perfect.
But he would probably die of pneumonia. Remember that great story of the old coach? What was his name? George Hallis, I think it was. The old coach that was the coach for the it might not be George Hallis, but he was a coach in college at a shit California school. But he used to be a coach for the Washington Redskins back in the day. He was like in his 80s, and they had won like the Division III championship, whatever. And all the young guys thought it'd be cool to throw Gatorade on him. And it was cold out. The Gatorade hit him. He got pneumonia and died in 6 hours. So you can't fuck with certain people. They killed him with a Gatorade bath, and that's the same thing that would happen to Joe Biden if that happened. That happened right there. So
he got the Gatorades.
Yeah, he did. And it's not my fault that I didn't tune into politics. I had a show, first of all. And second of all, I know it's a regular season game, but the Nuggets are playing the Celtics. That's basically a preview of the NBA Finals. How are you not going to watch that? It's way more important to me. And the Celtics fucking played like shit after Tatum had stated to the world that he's the best player in the world. Well, then why can't you score more than fucking Jokic? Anyway, fuck you. So yeah, I can't care. Unless Biden's going to do that speech at halftime of that game, I don't care. You know
why isn't he? That should be the Super Bowl halftime show. The whole world's watching anyway.
You're right, and I'm going to go one up on it because we talked about this on Wednesday's show, Bobby, because you brought this up. You know who should have been writing? You know who should have been doing that speech? Charles
Leonardo
fucking Barkley.
Oh, that would have been good.
He's been weighing in against Trump anyway. He's been going off whatever. If you're going to give Shane Gillis, dude, you want white men to be pumped about politics? You got Shane Gillis on one side, and then Charles fucking Barkley, the round mound, the rebound, talking shit, getting if Trump, because believe me, if I was Gillis, what would you do? You come out, you'd be silly, and go, oh, I'll wear the T-shirt that says I support Trump. And then Barkley comes out and just punches him but first paints him black, and then punches him in the face, and he said he'll punch any black guy wearing them. Dude, then I'm interested. Now I'm on board.
I kind of like that. What if Shaq then came out for the Republicans? I guess he does own a lot of businesses. He might be a Republican. Is Shaq a black Republican?
I don't know. I'm kind of thrown off by this man. Hi, I am Wesley Curry.
No, I'm Wesley Curry!
I am in Huntington, West Virginia. I am the man Jesus gave his dove to.
Jesus is handing out doves?
For not telling the vision of the valley, Dad, you shall lose everything you have.
You shall lose. You shall lose.
Goodbye.
This guy just popped in to say this shit. Just telling us we're going to lose everything we have because we didn't give the message of the valley or whatever.
Well, guess
you're
what
going to lose.
Dad? He just gave the message and you became his speaker. You are the voice of Curry.
Oh my gosh.
You just channeled. It was through you. Who's the piece of shit in this story? Wesley Curry or everyone who doesn't believe in the word of Wesley Curry?
Well, he's Wesley Curry 2, so maybe not. Maybe Wesley Curry 2 is the...
I like that he's not junior. That he's 2. Which I guess means there's a 3. I think, right? Don't you become 2 when there's a 3?
I don't know. I think you come 2
I'm a junior, so I'm always a junior because there's no 3. It was just me, and then I was like, I'm not doing that to another person.
Wesley Curry 2 Revelations.
More Wesley, more Curry.
Yes. I'm guessing that's another gamer thing, right?
I don't know.
F was for fall in wheelchair. I is for I believe in Wesley Curry too. or maybe he's Jeffrey Corrado 1. I get it now. He's the first.
That makes sense. I think you become the second when you die. I can't take the shades off. They're my microphone.
Yeah, Bobby's a spy. Bobby got his microphones from a Cracker Jack box in 1973.
Oh, neat.
He also has a decoder ring that tells him what he's going to talk about next. And he opens it up. He's like, ooh. I think they look cool, Bobby. But I do think it's weird that everyone right away was like, Dan's the murderer. You've got glasses like a murderer, and I've got the
Normal
body of a
people
murderer.
wear sunglasses. I don't know what the fuck everybody's deal is.
No deal here. You could get some.
I guess.
Dude, you ever
Can I wear my
Jorge
sunglasses?
Jackson?
Only Posada.
Jorge Jackson. You know what Jorge's Spanish for? He's a whore. Hey. You
thought
can
it
bang
was-
that guy. Bang that guy. Bah, 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 bah. You know what? He's a whore. Guess who else is a whore? Steel Toe's wife. Steel Toe in the morning. Bah, 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 bah. Just never gonna.
That one was telegraphed a bit.
Yeah, they all were. Dude.
It's almost like
The
you
second
could see
they
it
start
coming a
doing
mile
drugs.
away. It's almost like you could see it a mile away, like that forehead.
Hey, that wasn't coming. That's left hook. He was fine.
Out of nowhere. Dan,
All right.
how are you, buddy?
Oh, let's
I'm
not do that.
sleepy.
You seem tired.
Yeah, I was just saying, let's just keep the stories going. Let's not get into fucking fun talk. Let's move. I can see Dan as being a little trooper being on the morning, but this ain't the shit for him. Dan probably hasn't been asleep since 3 days ago.
Since he did the last morning radio he was on.
By the way, if either one of you heard the big announcement yesterday that on Netflix on July 20th, live streaming boxing match, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Yes, the baddest man in the planet. Mike Tyson will be fighting against Jake Paul, YouTuber, who, if you don't know, has been boxing for a couple years, has not really fought anyone real. He's only fought one real boxer, and that was not Tyson Fury, but yet Tyson Fury's brother, Tommy. So just like, basically, it wasn't Bill Clinton, it was Roger Clinton, that kind of shit. And even though Tommy Fury is just a mediocre, bag of donuts boxer, Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul. So the one time he fought a real boxer was that. Now he's beaten MMA guys. He beat Nate Robinson, who was a 5'9" basketball point guard for the Knicks back in the day. He's boxed some weird fucking people. When Tyson last boxed in like 2005 when he lost, but professionally. But he did fight in an exhibition match in November 2020 where he did fight against Roy Jones Jr. And he's even said he did that to raise money for Roy because Roy needed money. He was hurting and he loves Roy. Tyson didn't need the money in any way. He did that as an exhibition to show up. They were the headlining card. The opening match on that card was Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul. So Jake Paul feels like this is a full circle, a 180. Now he's on the top of the card, and he has aspirations to be the world heavyweight champion. And he can prove that by fighting Mike Tyson in an exhibition fight on Netflix after he's lost to the only boxer he ever fought. Now Tyson has come out and said, Jake Paul's great. He's great for boxing. He gets eyes on it. This will be fun. We'll have a good time. Tyson is 57. He'll be 58 when this fight happens. Jake Paul is 27. You can't find me anyone in the world, boxing fan, boxing purist, or just somebody off the streets who knows nothing, who would tell you that Jake Paul has a chance against a man 30 years older than him. Because even if you haven't seen Tyson box recently, you might have seen a video from an airplane where, by the way, that guy had just the same amount of chance as Jake Paul did. But this match is going to make billions of dollars. I mean, not only is Netflix throwing the money, but the gambling you're going to be able to do on it, DraftKings getting behind it, Jake Paul and his name getting behind it, it's going to be monstrous. And Tyson's not just going to do it for the heck. Tyson's going to give his money to charity. Tyson doesn't give a fuck about this kind of shit at all. You might see a George Foreman type thing. If Tyson does look good, I could see Tyson going, fuck it, I'll box a real match and fight against somebody older and not go for a title, not go for anybody. The guys are too big. If you don't follow about Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, they're like monstrous freaks now. Tyson fought tall guys. Lewis and all those guys were tall, but these guys are like basketball forwards. Tyson could never do that now at his size. But the fact that people still care about this means that Tyson is one of the most polarizing figures we've ever seen in the history of sport. He has been forever. He still is forever. But in the write-up for this, they're saying Mike Tyson, former champion, against the most polarizing boxer today, Jake Paul. How the fuck do you say that? Now, there's also, before we get to the piece of shit, there's been many articles written about this, but our friends, the ones that we used to go to every week on POS, the old New York Post, they have come up with something they've come up with their own tale of the tape. Now, if you don't know much about them, what they like to do is say fucking awful things about people that they think are rapists. That's what they like to do. And they don't let it
And
go
make a
forever.
pun.
Yeah, they do like doing that. So, real quickly here, guys let me know when you can see what's going on. Can you guys see?
Oh, I can see now.
The tail of the tape on the right-hand side there. Usually tails of the tape have boxing stats. Mike Tyson, 57 years old. Jake Paul, 27 years old. Pedigree. Mike Tyson, former heavyweight champion. Jake Paul, 20 million YouTube followers. So far, so good.
Tough.
Face tattoos. They both have one. There's a warrior face tattoo on Tyson, a dragon one on Jake Paul. Favorite snack? Mike Tyson's bit of Vander Holyfield's ear. Well, that's not a snack. That is not. Jake Paul's chomped on a raw cow testicle. Now, these are not their favorite snacks. Yes, these are things they put in their mouth, but I'm sure they don't have them when they go on trips if they're driving all the way to Guantanamo Bay or wherever Bobby is. Nickname, Kid Dynamite. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Kid Dynamite. It was the baddest man on the planet. They might have called him that a couple times. He was also Iron Mike Tyson. He was never fucking Kid Dynamite, as far as I remember. And if he was, there was 3 on the nickname list. Jake Paul, problem child. I thought he was Logan's brother. But either way, pets. Mike Tyson loves pigeons, also making him retarded. Yes, he had pigeons, whatever, but that's not what you say. He also had a tiger. He had a fucking tiger in his house. Jake Paul, pit bull and golden retriever. Crimes. Always on a tail of the tape. Mike Tyson, 6 years in jail for rape. Jake Paul, charges dropped for criminal trespassing. I don't think those are the same matching up right there at all in any way, shape, or form. Who is the piece of shit in this story? Is it Netflix for going, hey, we're trying to do streaming like everybody else? Max is streaming basketball games, so is Hulu. Amazon's doing baseball. Peacock did that football playoff game. They call all that shit. The world of sports is going to be going to streaming very soon. Cable is going away. You might as well do it. It's a way to capitalize. Netflix just announced that next year in January, WWE Raw will be on every week, streaming live. So they're all going for that kind of stuff. Netflix just last week did their own tennis open called the Netflix Open, where they streamed a live tennis thing. So they've been doing this. So I get why they're going after it. But to throw all this money at an exhibition match, if you want to see if you can help boxing, you don't help boxing by having an exhibition against people who aren't boxers anymore. You take a match that's a middleweight championship or something like that people who aren't boxing fans can see again. Remember years ago when NBC did that whole thing about the next champion, whatever, and they had all those young boxers like a reality show? People gave a shit for a little bit, and they got involved in it because they got to watch the stories of this. You could do that with Netflix. I get it, you want to get eyes first, but I wouldn't have done that. I would have tested it on a match that wasn't well known and seen if people jumped on it. Instead of something like this, because if you try to do regular boxing later, people are going like, oh, there's no superstars, there's no YouTube people. So is this going to become a thing that they're going to do for the celebrity part? If they do, great, but whatever. But I don't know if it's a great thing for Netflix to be putting out there this kind of match. Is it Mike Tyson for saying yes? Because Mike Tyson's in a lose-lose situation no matter what. Mike Tyson, yeah, he is much older. He's never going to be the Mike Tyson of old, but he's still Mike Tyson no matter what. And if he doesn't knock the shit out of Jake Paul, people are going to go, what the fuck? He sucks. And he can't do that because this is being called an exhibition match. They haven't said exactly what the parameters and rules are going to be, but they definitely haven't said that this is a boxing sanctioned match. This is an exhibition bout. When he did it against Roy Jones and other things like that, he did have to pull, they have to pull punches a little bit. They don't go for knockouts. Floyd Mayweather wasn't supposed to go for knockouts either, but he did knock out fucking Logan Paul, but he was standing up on his feet and he held him a little bit. Because when you're a real boxer, you can't turn that shit off. Is it Jake Paul for taking this here? Because he's also in a lose-lose. Because, yeah, I know it's cool again to fight, but you just become a joke now. You're talking about wanting to be a real boxer. You were fighting those other matches to get some recognition, to get known, so you could supposedly help boxing. At this point, you shouldn't be doing these matches anymore. You should be fighting guys at your level and trying to come up. The kid's not a bad boxer. He's got decent form. He's tall. He's strong. They're both tremendous athletes. Logan Paul is dominating WWE when he's involved in matches. He's been in WrestleMania, things like that. These guys can do as much as you might want to hate them. These kids can do it. It's like those two athletes you knew in high school that you fucking hated, but you wanted them on your team. For some reason, they're dickheads, but they can do their thing. But if he loses this, he's got to stop boxing. An exhibition thing, it's not cool that he lost to a guy 30 years older. I don't care who he is. And if he wins, he didn't really box him, and more people are going to say Tyson didn't try than Jake Paul won. Or is it the New York Post? Fuck you, New York Post. You're a piece of shit. Mike Tyson has done everything he can to turn his life back around and do whatever. You don't have to keep saying he raped people. You know what you do? You rape our ears and eyes every day with your shit fucking articles. You write bullshit all the time. You're a joke. You're a shit newspaper that no one cares about. You didn't have to put that shit in there. This guy's doing this thing. You think it's going to help you to do that? Why don't we compare you to other newspapers? We can do that. Even birds won't shit on your fucking newspaper. They wouldn't even use that to cover the cage that fucking Biden would be in when he's Sleepy Joe. Who's the piece of shit in the story? Bobby, go first.
Yeah, it's obviously the New York Post. You know, I get the idea that Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson might not be the matchup everybody's looking for these days, but we've already seen it before. We've heard this story. It was Rocky 6, Rocky Balboa, where the video game simulation says Rocky would get beat by Mason the Lion Dixon, so he decides to fight one more time to prove his ground. There's an easy path out for the Paul brother. Is it Jake?
Yeah, it's Jake in this one, yeah.
Okay, I keep forgetting which one. So Jake,
Jake's
pretend
more of a boxer. Logan doesn't really do it as much, but he did.
So very simply, round one, throw a rib shot, break your hand. That's your way out of it. That it's not, oh, he got beat up by an old man or he didn't beat up an old man. Just do the same thing they did in Rocky, fight through an injury. The difference is everybody thinks, and this one, Mike Tyson's going to knock out Jake Paul. Whereas I feel like in Rocky, everybody was like, what's this old man doing? Now they're like, dude, this guy might kill somebody. Every time Jake fights, there's a theory that he threw the fight. There's the glove twist, the nose, all these different things. Mike Tyson's so old and senile, he will not throw a fight. Like, he will kill you and forget. But the point I'm making is he's at the point where if he gets hit, he's in fight mode. He isn't able to, act anymore. I think if Mike Tyson gets punched, it's go time. There's no turning that switch off. You see a lot of fighters, Boom Boom Mancini was a great example. Post-fighting, the minute they get angry, it's on. And I think Jake might be in some serious trouble. There's not going to be pulling punches from Tyson, but it's the post. Not only could you have punched up your stupid tail of the tape card, instead of 4 snack, just put the dude's ear. A testicle. Don't say he bit and chomped, right? Just be funny. And let's get into it. Number of times they were raped. Mike Tyson, as a little boy, it inspired him to fight it. Jake Paul, his entire time on the Disney Channel, he was just a fuck puppet. They asked his nickname. It was Fuck Thing 2, because Logan was Fuck Thing 1. Those boys got molested into becoming a professional wrestler and a fucking boxer. That's what happened.
Bobby,
let's talk about it. Let's see who's...
But real quick, I have to jump in on this one. I don't need to keep your step, but when we say something that's not right, I have to say it. Logan Paul was Fuck Thing 1, but Jake Paul was Wesley Curry 2. Anyway, go ahead.
That's why Wesley Curry's so pissed, because he was Fuck Thing 2. Yes. Or which one mocked an entire dead forest of suicide? You know what I mean? Get into it. Get into the nitty gritty.
I believe that was Logan, though. That wasn't him, I think, but I'm not sure.
Oh.
But either way, family.
Which one has a douchey brother that I can never remember the difference between the two? That should have been on the tail of the tape. For me, it's the New York Post. Be better.
Yeah, you're right. If this was Tyson 10 years ago, I'd agree with your assessment on him popping off and maybe not being able to react. But this is Weed Farm Tyson. You know what I mean? Yes, he got mad on that plane, but he still reacted in a regular. He let it go for a little bit until finally the guy was literally assaulting Mike Tyson, and he defended himself like anyone. He happened to be Mike Tyson, so therefore make a bigger deal of it. But he was just doing what any of us would have done if a drunk asshole was hitting us on a plane. No one had a problem with Tyson doing what he did, and they were all like, what the meme became maybe you should know who you're fucking with before you fuck with someone. No one was like crazy Mike Tyson attack. No one was saying rapist Mike Tyson or crazy angry man Mike Tyson. They were saying celebrity, boxing god, Mike Tyson, one of the most famous people of all times, was provoked. It was always silly. Imagine provoking the one guy who could fight a world by himself. Why would you do this? When Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr. in that exhibition match, Roy Jones was out of shape and doing stuff, but he's still Roy Jones. He still has great hands and things of that nature. He did slip a couple, and he couldn't help that because he was a guy that wasn't doing it. Tyson showed restraint. Tyson would love to take out Roy Jones. What did Roy Jones talk about whenever he boxed? He was pound for pound the greatest boxer of all times, not Tyson. He was better than Tyson. They ever fought each other, whatever. Mike gave him that afterwards, said he's a great guy, I love him, whatever. Mike's that guy now. Mike's seen his life, the hell he went through as a child, the way he was used and abused, and then used it to be a great boxer. His downfall in boxing and in life, his comeuppance, his resurrection, all that. Mike's that older guy who's seen the light. You know what I mean? He's that guy that used to be crazy and he isn't anymore. He's doing this because he loves boxing so much, even though it treated him like shit with Don King and all that, that he wants to get eyes back on it and he thinks this is the best way. He could give a fuck about the money. You can say what you want. You think he lost money. Mike Tyson has a million ways to make money. Do you know how many advertising places would just give him money to be their spokesperson? If it was silly or whatever, he can make money in a second. He's got a podcast, he's got all these things going on. He doesn't need it. Jake Paul doesn't need it either. Jake Paul says he cares about boxing, and he might, but he's going the wrong route. He's going the YouTube boy route. I get it. I don't think Tyson's going to hurt him in any way. I think this is going to be a boring match. I understand why they're doing it. Will I watch? Of course I'll watch, because you're hoping that Tyson will come out and knock him out. It won't be that in any way. It'll be just like you brought up Rocky. This will be Rocky 3. Thunder Lips in the flesh, baby. But now Thunder Lips is not the boxer. Thunder Lips is not the wrestler. He's the boxer. Mike Tyson will come out and be fun, look a little angry, whatever. And Jake Paul, when he looks into the eyes of a fucking killer, one of the most deadliest men with hands in the history of the world, who probably could beat up army. Mike Tyson at his prime could have beat the Roman Empire when they were storming things. Like Mike Tyson was scary. When he came in with no music, just a fucking towel. That Tyson, if he walks in like that, Jake Paul comes in dancing, doing his thing. If I was Tyson, I would just walk in, no music, shorts, the towel, and stare. He'd be scared, and he'd just go, just kidding, kid. Tap him a couple times, let it go. It's all it's going to be. But Jake's already going to be lost in his mind no matter what.
I could see that.
Boxing, Mike might even let Jake get a couple shots in. And I don't think he'd throw it back. He goes, the kid's quick, the kid's good. In my prime, I might have beat him, but right now he's good. I think he's got a chance. Maybe he'll help elevate it. Who knows? I don't like that it's happening, but it definitely, I agree with you. It's definitely the fucking New York Post. Dan?
I think that, I don't know who's the piece of shit, but I just like the fact that Mike Tyson is beating up annoying YouTubers. And, like, I hope that, like, he beats up more. Like, all those prankster kids, like, I hope somebody tries to steal his luggage and then beats him up. I hope that somebody pretends to mug Mike Tyson on camera and he beats those guys up. I just wanted to see him beating up these obnoxious freaking social media goons.
Dude, that's our new show. Mike Tyson has got a new show called Fuck YouTube. But it's just fuck you and YouTube, and he just goes around. And whoever's got, every week he goes through the highest the rating ones. Female show, male show, whatever it is. It's like this week, Mike Tyson takes on Barstool Sports. This week, Mike Tyson fights Nick Mullen and Adam Freeland for no fucking reason. Like, him just fight. You know that guy who does makeup tutorials because he's gay, but he's not a lady? Yeah, he's fighting Tyson this week. Like, I would watch those every fucking week. And if one of those guys gets one punch in, Tyson promotes their show. That's right. If Tyson fights a YouTuber and they get one clean hit, then he, the next week, has to promote their show to everybody. That's what they get, more views from Tyson. Now, if Tyson beats them up, then they get to be on the list of people that got beat up like that, but they get to talk about that for weeks and weeks, how Mike Tyson beat them up. It's a win-win. Dan Brown, genius.
I like this. Let's take it a step further. Mike Tyson, a little bit washed up, has had some issues, back on the straight and narrow. What if we take Bam Margera and we put him in a house with Mike Tyson and we tell him to try to pull all the same pranks he used to on Phil? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I know. I was doing that so you could address it because, yeah. Brandon, we appreciate you. Bobby's is on the road, so he's got the microphones in his headphones. He'd have to turn down his brain. I don't think we're just happy his brain's on this early, dude. Yeah, I want Mike Tyson. I know they did it with other boxers. Mike Tyson should fight everyone from Jackass. I know they did it with Butterbean and stuff like that, but Mike Tyson fighting Steve-O, Mike Tyson fighting Bam, Mike Tyson fighting Ryan Dunn. Great matches.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know. I'm just more enthused about like the YouTuber things and social media. Like if there was a bunch of people doing TikTok dances and Mike Tyson just strolled in the middle of it and just started punching them, pow, biff, zap, that would be what I would be interested in. Like
no,
Ryan
I
Dunn.
appreciate that. But yeah, that's
Ryan Dunn.
I was about to tell Dan now. Dan would have really liked that one.
From his first match versus the Tree.
Ryan Dunn died in a car accident years ago. That's why I said that one at the end. That would be very fun if Mike Tyson fought a guy who died in a car accident a long time ago. So I think you would enjoy that one.
Nice.
I'm thinking.
Who would you want to fight if Mike Tyson? Let's name our Mount Rushmore of celebrities, past or present, that are annoying that you hate, that you want Mike Tyson to fight in a ring for us to watch on Netflix. Who's number one? All history, male, female, or currently, if they could, Tyson in his prime against them in their prime. Who would you want Tyson to beat up in a ring?
Ann Coulter.
Ann Coulter, okay, she might make the list. I don't know. She's got a good reach. You know what I mean? Like, she's got a decent reach, and Tyson's shorter. She can handle, and she talks a good game. The press conferences before would be great. They would be great because she would lean the fuck in. Now she has no chance in hell, but I would definitely watch the fucking that tail of the tape is fun too.
Oh, absolutely. And can you imagine her just getting as close? It would basically be like an episode of Come Down. They'd either have to bleep the N-words at the press conference or she'd get as close as she could without.
Dan, name one celebrity, past or present, that would you'd want Mike Tyson to beat up.
I don't know too much about celebrities, but I feel like
famous people in history. Anyone?
I don't know. Bill Maher.
Why Bill Maher? I mean, he's annoying.
Just because he has these smug opinions, and he's like always like 2 years behind what's happening. Like he learns about stuff that's happening 2 years later, but he just talks down to everybody. And I don't know. He's just so annoying and smug. And
dude, him in that match would be great though. He'd be like, "Oh, your left hand. You're using your left hand. Is that what you're doing now? Is that we're now using that hand, that side of the world? Well, you know, also lefty, fucking Ruth Gator Binsberg, just fucking knocking him the fuck out. Like,
you're a real end, not a house end. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Before I fight Mike Tyson. Breaking news. Have you heard about this woman? Rosa Parks? Taking the bus. How about Uber, bitch? Yeah, that'd be a good one. I don't know why
and you fought so hard to sit at the front of the bus, and now all you people do is sit at the back. I'm Bill Maher, and I'm a bit of a racist.
You don't think the greatest selling fight of all times on Netflix would be Mike Tyson versus Adolf Hitler? That would be the greatest boxing match of all goddamn time. And you want to talk about press conference. Tyson's like, I don't know nothing about no Germany. I just know I'm going to break that his face like they broke down that wall. And then Hitler goes, Viking, Tyson. Like, that's a great press conference.
I'm going to beat him up like, what's that word for when you kill a whole group of people based on who they are, not what they did? What's that word? Like when you put them in camps and then you did that? You inspired that? You're the guy? I'm going to take a dive for you, Adolf.
But Brandon weighs in with Tyson versus Susan B. Anthony. Yeah. The B is for busting that ass. That's what that's for.
B stood for bitch should have kept her mouth shut.
Good morning, Dominic. And no.
3-pointer.
No 3-pointer.
Oh, man. That means there's a lady in the room. Bobby,
that's got to be more points if it's at work, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If they're awake, you get stealth bonuses.
And Dan, if you don't know about the game, we're going to have you on in the evening sometime. We have a whole new game we've been playing where people jerk off when you're not paying attention, I guess. I don't like the game, but it's Bobby's favorite.
My number 2 for my Mount Rushmore would be Kaylee Anthony.
The baby.
The baby.
Of Casey Anthony fame. Not Casey Anthony for killing the baby. The dead baby. But at baby prime.
I would just like to see the headline, Mike Tyson murders Kaylee Anthony. And then Casey would be like, I told you it wasn't me.
It could be him, her, or John Bonet. I'm fine with.
Okay, John Bonet too. Yeah. That would be a good one.
John Bonet too, not Wesley Curry too.
Who else would it be fun to watch Tyson fight? Oh, that dude from the hospital commercial, that little kid.
Why are you having him fight dying children or dead children? These are not
the Shriners Hospital. The 2 Shriners boys. They could be a tag team.
Why is he lighting them up? It's supposed to be people that you hate, not fucking dying children.
Progeria really hurts. But you know what hurts worse? Getting punched in the face by Mike Tyson.
No, would be a good one. We dressed up Mike Tyson as a 16-year-old teenage girl, and we put him on Epstein's island. He has to fight his way off the island, and he just starts lighting up everybody that's there. Clinton, fucking anybody that was there, not Trump, he's just fighting his way off. Children, whatever. Tyson versus Fuck Island, dude. That's the show.
Yeah. Who can survive Fuck Island with Mike Tyson?
I like that. Season 8. Like, what season 8? Let me get 8 seasons out of this.
How, like, if I feel like if Mike Tyson was on Fuck Island with all these guys, I feel like they would probably team up. Like, I don't know, they'd have to come up with some kind of strategy to beat Mike Tyson. Like, if Mike Tyson was hunting them down on this island like the Predator, and they had to like who would be the last surviving member of Fuck Island?
Stephen Hawking.
Why him?
He's a genius, and he's got a wheelchair that's probably got rockets on it.
But is Fuck Island wheelchair accessible? Like, does it have ramps and everything?
Well, he was fucking people on the island, Dan. He was on the list, so he definitely.
I suppose.
And as somebody who's carried a person in that condition, you can't do it more than like 50 yards. So there's no way they were carrying him room to room on that island.
Or he builds like exoskeleton legs, and then he gets up like robot style and fights Tyson with a robot body.
Ooh. You know what we could do is take this, and this could be like, you know, the guys who get busted on like To Catch a Predator, but don't end up getting convicted. Their punishment could be a round with Tyson. Like, we could send all these guys accused of bad things, and they can go take their beating in the public opinion. And the public opinion is just Mike Tyson's nickname.
And for the women who could do wrong, they get
Mike
Jake
Tyson
Paul.
Can punch them.
No, they get Jake Paul because he's a fucking pussy and it wouldn't hurt as much. That's who they fight.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
Bobby, you got another one? Oh, go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
You think that Stephen Hawking built like a fuck chassis when he was on Fuck Island? Like if he was gonna build a fuck chassis to fight Mike Tyson, you think he built one for other things?
Yeah, I think that most of the inventing Stephen Hawking had was about him fucking. Because he did cheat on wives. Like, as much as he was a paralyzed genius, he fucked a bunch. Like, it's funny how much nerds fuck when they have the ability to finally fuck. I'm doing a whole bit on Oppenheimer fucking now. That's been working pretty good. But, like, but which is why no one else is doing that bit. It's just me, but it's been working pretty good. But yeah, I think anything with chastity or chastity, Stephen Hawking was on board for. Bobby, you got a story?
I actually don't, buddy. That was my story.
Had two.
That was my second one. I'm so sorry.
Oh no! All right. Well, guess what? I do. Ha ha.
Hell yeah! Maybe I'll have one by the time we're done.
No, it's okay. But before we get to that story, and because people are still watching, first of all, thank you everybody that's on the live. People over on Bobby's Twitter, thank you. Put comments on Bobby's Twitter. He doesn't see him right now. We're doing the show, but he'll definitely respond to you guys later on. We appreciate you watching that. And if you guys could, head on over to the YouTube channel while you're watching and subscribe quickly. We really appreciate you doing that. Like the video. Dan, thank you for coming on the show. We're gonna do one more story first, but why don't you quickly tell people where they can follow you, all that kind of stuff.
You can find me at Dan Brown Comedy on Instagram and Ghosty Films on most social media sites, apps.
You got any shows coming up?
Nah, I'm a bum.
Yeah, pretty soon Dan Brown will be fighting Mike Tyson and Jake Paul 2-on-1. It'll be Dan Brown and Stephen Hawking in a chastity belt, or a chastity, whichever one that was, fighting against them. Bobby?
This weekend, tonight and tomorrow, I am at Dead Crow Comedy with Aaron Berg. Then I'm up at Toronto the 13th through the 16th. Yuck Yuck's doing some guest spots. Then I'll be back following Earl around. So Central PA, if you want to see me, check out the Instagram. Nice. And I did remember my other story. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem. We'll go to that in mind. This Saturday, if you are in Connecticut, and you love St. Patrick's Day and you love parades, at 1 o'clock, I'll be part of the St. Patrick's Day parade in Milford. I will be on the WPLR float. Myself and legendary radio personality Mike Lapatino will be on the fucking float with a fucking rock band behind us as we're waving the folks, stuff like that. So come on out, drink, have a good time, and then come when you're done and you're drunk, go home, take a nap, and then follow us over to Seymour. I'll be performing, headlining a show at Jimmy's Place in Seymour on Main Street there. So a big day of action packed for Saturday that as well. The following week, I've got my show March 15th at Riverwalk Social. With the really funny Kevin Dolan headlining that. I'm bringing a lot of great young comics to those shows.
Like every win.
Yes, it's very early. It's very early in the game, but mark your calendars. If you are anywhere in New England and you want to come see my album recording, they'll be doing with Uncancelable Records. And I'm also working on trying. I was in discussions yesterday, but this is breaking news. It's not confirmed yet, but I am working very hard to make sure my opening act is someone you guys are quite familiar with, and he's wearing glasses. But we were in discussions yesterday. I don't think it's going to be an issue. We'll announce that when it's there, but it looks like that's going to be part of the thing as well. And it'll be wonderful to be on that, do my album there, August 8th through 10th. It'll be at Ramos Roadhouse inside Mohegan Sun Casino. We'll be doing Thursday, Friday, one show Thursday, one show Friday, 2 shows Saturday, recording my new album. I'm very excited about the stuff, so come on out and check that out. And subscribe, all that fun stuff. Bobby, what's your story?
Real quick, I just got to laugh because when you said you were working on an opening act that everybody loved, before you said wearing glasses, my self-esteem so low. I was like, oh, I wonder who he's getting. I bet you it's Frank. I bet you it's Frank.
I know you so well. In the glasses, I could see that. And I was like, say glasses.
Just like, oh, hell yeah. I wonder who my man got. This is just a quick one. Out of Pennsylvania, but I guess it's politics. Sorry to double down. We have a rep, Scott Perry, and he's a Democrat. He's been a nutcase. He texts me all the time like, hey, come to my petition signing so I can get on the ballot. And I'm like, you don't want me at a town hall with you, which is probably why the FBI knows me. So, book Dan Brown. Yes, please. Dan is one of the...
Book Dan shouldn't be saying he's a bum. Dan's hilarious. Book him on your shows. You're watching this. You want a great comedy show? You put Dan Brown on that motherfucking show.
And he's one of the most unique comedians. He can fit any lineup.
He's no Wesley Curry, but he's fucking great. You know what I mean?
He's like the second coming. But Scott Perry put a motion in front of the Senate, and he's, like I said, he's a bleeding heart liberal. And basically the motion was either we find a way to convert the eternal flames of Robert Kennedy and John F. Kennedy to a renewable resource, or we extinguish the eternal flame for the sake of preventing climate change. I saw this the other day when I was just scrolling through the news, and I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. But then I started thinking about it, and it is kind of a shitty thing to be like, we have this flame people have to protect and make sure it goes on forever because he did something so great. Like John F. Kennedy, sure, what did he do? He fucked Marilyn Monroe. Maybe that guy deserves a flame. But his brother Bobby, all he did was get shot in the head. That's not worth a flame. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Activist. He probably was a more brilliant person than fucking Robert. Robert was more handsome. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm a big fan of Bobby because his whole political career was spent fighting the gay dude from the FBI who was secretly blackmailing everybody. So, me, big fan of Bobby. But I get
president of the United States, but we're not going to get into that.
That's a second we could all get behind. Yeah. But so like, who is the piece of shit? Is it Scott Perry? Because why are you doing this now? Obviously, it's a woke gesture, almost as bad as getting Shane Gillis to write for the response. Is it the Kennedys? We get it. You were great. You died. You got assassinated. Lincoln doesn't have an eternal flame.
We get it. You were great. You died. You were assassinated. Yeah, we get it.
We get it.
Your whole family was killed in conspiracies. We get it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Your family was brilliant people that could have led this country and changed lives. Fuck you for whining all the time. Boo! Your family got shot in the head and nobody will admit to it. You ruined parades for everybody. Wow.
There was a magic bullet. We know. Back into the left. It's time to move on.
My brain spattered all over my wife.
Your wife, who was supposedly hot, she wasn't.
She was so ugly you had to fuck Marilyn. Anyway.
Who, by the way, I don't want to get into this again, wasn't hot. Marilyn Monroe was a chubby bitch. She just showed her tits at a time when people didn't show their tits.
This is a side note real quick. I just thought you guys would appreciate it. I was reading a book on borderline personality disorder, and the first 5 people...
Doing research. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, fuck. All right.
Yeah. I mean, but the first 5 people, he was like, a lot of celebrities have had BPD. Marilyn Monroe. Someone like listed 3 other people, and the last one was Hitler. And it was just like, I don't know if that's the 5 you want to mention.
His fashion sense was dope.
Wait, did you say it was borderline personality disorder?
Yep.
That's what it's. That's a type of illness.
But I mean, like Hitler, he was just borderline.
Yeah.
Not just personality disorder.
Yeah, it was
like right on the fence. He was just dangling his toes over the line of personality disorder.
He would smash over borderlines and kill everybody that's over there.
And then he put up these borders and drew a line about who was allowed inside and who was allowed outside.
Here's my borderline. Over here, Jews. Over here, cool people.
I mean, arguably, we'd still have Robert Kennedy if Hitler had gotten rid of all the gays.
Wesley Curry, too. More like Wesley Curry, Jew. You know what I'm saying?
And you're out of here.
The God said, take your dove and shove it in your butt.
But yeah, you get my point. Like,
what was your point? We sidetracked a sidetrack. So where were you?
That the eternal flame might be a bit much.
Oh, yes.
Like, we've got the Lincoln Memorial. We've got the Washington Memorial. The Washington Monument, I get, right? It's just a big dick. Showing the rest of the world we got a big dick. That's all that is. Who's the piece of shit in this story? Is it Scott Perry? Like, let the flame go. How much gas could it possibly use? Not as much as the last gentleman we were just mentioning, that's for sure. Is it the Kennedys for keeping their flames going? Is it me for caring so much about Scott Perry and the eternal flame? Dan, we'll kick it to you first.
I don't know. I don't think anybody's a piece of shit.
Dan, I don't want to critique you, but this is the 3rd story we've done, and 2 or 3 you said there wasn't a piece of shit in this story, and that's kind of the whole purpose of this podcast.
And Dan's been a guest on this show more than anyone else. Like, we've had people on there, but we're like, I don't even get it. And then they caught on. Dan today is fucking being like Switzerland. He's like, I don't want to call anyone a piece of shit, baby. I love all of you. I love the Kennedys. I love Hitler. I don't want to make me rude to anyone.
Dan Brown, who's been said to be the replacement for me when I kill myself on this show, all of a sudden refuses to participate.
And by the way, that was said by me. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, it's
said by the other guy. Definitely, Dan is in when you're dead, without a doubt.
Dan, I just so you know, I'm just busting your balls, buddy. You're allowed to not have a piece of shit. I'm a big fan.
I mean,
I think a piece of shit now is Bobby for calling out Dan. How about that shit? Yeah.
Yeah, you got a real easy target, buddy. Kind of like the Kennedy's big ass forehead. Pat? Kind of like the Kennedy's big ass forehead, Pat.
I know, somebody was texting me. Steel Toe's wife, stupid head, stupid bitch. She's dumb. She has borderline forehead disorder.
We it was like a baseball game where you work it for the retarded kid to hit a home run and he takes the pitch.
He's like, at one point they're like, you swing the bat, and then they just take his hand and have him slap the ball, and he runs.
That's literally what we did.
I'm like, okay.
Oh, I see. Sorry, Dan. Who's the piece of shit? I apologize. We keep talking all over you.
These stupid Kennedys. They're assholes.
Fucking
Hate 'em.
Can't wait for AI to clip that.
Bobby, your AI is gonna say special needs baseball inspires the Kennedys to be smarter.
I kind of see what you're saying, Dan, there with the idea of the Kennedys being like, it is true. And now we have to hear about them based off of the legacy, the two good ones who died. Like both of mainly John, but to some extent Robert, are lucky that they died before their legacy got exposed. Can you imagine if John was around today to have Alzheimer's and just talk about all the puss he got while he was in the White? Like, the Me Too movement, the Kennedys wouldn't have survived. And then you got Robert running around, the vaccine's so bad. Should have vaccinated your brother or your uncle against the fucking bullet wound to the head. Too bad Pfizer doesn't make a vaccine for that. Pat, who's your piece of shit?
All right. It's not Steve Perry, whoever the fuck you're talking about. That's the lead singer of Journey. I don't know how he's even involved in this, but it's not him. It's like,
someday that bullet will find you. Your wife will scrape the brains off the back of the car.
My brain is gone in separate ways. It's not Scott Perry, whatever. You fucking talk shit with you, whatever you got to do. It's not whoever said the eternal flame. We know the eternal flame is Liberace. He was the eternal flame. He was the first gay, baby. That's who it is. It's Bobby. Because, Bobby, I got you on this one. You didn't have a story. All of a sudden, in 2 minutes, you recall the story. I don't know if you know this, Dan, but the thing Bobby does in the morning show is at one point he makes up a story. And then we talked last time about how what Bobby has to do is stop reading the story verbatim and pretend like that he kind of knows it. So at one point during that story, and never in the history of POS in years, Bobby went, oh yeah, I was looking at this story the other day. No, you were not. You are a liar. That was a great little fucking red herring you threw in the bitch. You don't care. And that's why when Dan had nothing, you're like, come on, man, get in here. No one's going to believe I'm lying unless you say shit. But Dan couldn't find a piece of shit in your lies. You're the liar of this, and I win. I get 3 points, not for the jerking off, but for doing that. And by the way, side note, other piece of shit is the guy who shot the Kennedys. Stop shooting the Kennedys.
Pat, that was a very thorough analysis, but I think you forgot one big thing.
What?
That you're talking to a chess player here, buddy. Who, yes, you are right.
Checkers last week.
Exactly. And today we were playing chess because on Wednesday you did point out that I read the story like a robot and that it would be too easy to tip it off. So I needed to kind of casually introduce the story. Mm-hmm. But I knew if I did that, you would instantly jump on it and be like, oh, that's the story Bobby made up. When clearly the more obviously made up story was Shane Gillis writing for the Republican Party. So you caught my red herring here. For me, the piece of shit in this story is I guess I could go with the same as you. The thing that keeps killing the Kennedys. Some would say there are two different things, but I would say it's all one part of having a militarized central intelligence agency. But what do I know?
Well, Bobby, I can't call out the Shane Gillis story because with Shane Gillis, you know what that means. A good thumbnail, a good story, and people click on it. So I had to pretend that one was real no matter what.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? Do you know I know? That's why I made up a story about Shane Gillis. Because I was like, let's go back to the cash cow.
Fuck. All right. You guys good for one more?
Yeah, let's get one more. Dan, you ready?
Mm-hmm. You ready for this? I want to do that.
You think that's what you think that's what John Wilkes Booth said right before he did it?
Yes.
You ready for this?
And then he actually did that. He's having a megaphone just like that weird like cheerleader one that's made out of paper. All right. Are you guys familiar with Anne Marie Tendler?
Yeah, fucked her.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Dan, do you know who Anne Marie Tendler is?
No.
Well, if Bobby fucked her, then he's Eskimo brothers with one John Mulaney, because Anne-Marie Tendler was the wife of John Mulaney, comedian John Mulaney, who recently went through a bunch of rehab and things a couple of years ago. And Anne-Marie Tendler, now they are broken up and separated, is coming out with a memoir, not a book, because she makes it clear to say that.
Oh boy, I'm in trouble.
It's a fucking memoir. She will be having a memoir that about the heartbreak and rage 3 years after their split that she had in her life. They were married for 7 years. They split in 2021. The memoir will be titled "Men Have Called Her Crazy." So, Bobby, if you're doing research, you might want to read that book too. But the book's the book's description. I'm sorry. The book's description does not explicitly mention Mulaney or her former marriage, but it will cover her experience being hospitalized amid their split. She said on Instagram that the memoir will address the endless source of heartbreak, rage, and what makes those happen? Men. Fucking men. That's the only reason this woman's ever had a problem. Fucking men. The couple broke up 5 months after Mulaney entered rehab. Once he got his mind clear, he came back out and then broke up with this woman. Mulaney started dating actress Olivia Munn in 2021, and they're expecting a child that he just announced on the Seth Meyers show very soon. This woman's book and everything pushed on it is her talking about all the problems, all things, and without mentioning Mulaney in the description, doesn't stop mentioning that she was married to Mulaney and all these things there to sell a book. Who's the piece of shit in the story? Is it Anne-Marie Tendler for writing a memoir? She did live that life. I'm sure there was a lot of crazy things, being with a comedian who had super rise, but also dealing with cocaine problems and all that. She's allowed to tell her story. Anyone can write that. But at the same time, you're capitalizing on something from somebody who righted themselves again. Yes, you were involved in it, and you might say some shit, but who's going to dispute it? And you're doing it as the I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar thing a couple Me Too years late. So who's going to be doing that there? Is it John Mulaney for going, hey, you've been with me in all the hard times, but now that I feel better, fuck off, bitch. I'm going to go fuck Olivia goddamn Munn. You know what I mean? That you want to talk about a redemption story. That's a redemption story. Anne-Marie Tendler was not, she was no garbage. She was a decent looking, they called her like a multifaceted media person. I think she did some Broadway shit, whatever she was. You know what I mean? She was a nice enough lady, whatever, but she ain't no goddamn Olivia Munn. That's what I know. They say to a lot of addicts, you have to find a new addiction. I don't really like that when they use that in the AA and stuff. But if your new addiction is Olivia Munn, that's a good fucking addiction to have, to not drink and do coke anymore. Is it the people that published this memoir? I get it. If you got an idea of a book, but that means this woman came in. She says she's been writing this memoir for 40 years, her entire life. All men destroying her. But did anyone care about this woman's life? No, they only care about the part where she was married to John Mulaney. By the way, if we do the grandma test like we've done many times on this show, I love John Mulaney. I know you guys all know John Mulaney and think he's great. But it's not like your grandma knows who John Mulaney is. They might go, is that the guy who did coke? But they probably wouldn't even know that. So it's not even worth it for the book in that way. It's going to, and by the way, when this memoir does come out, it's going to be her going on places talking about it and bringing up Mulaney and kind of putting his name in the dirt. A guy who just got himself better from being on drugs and all that stuff and cleaned up. So great thing to do is become a toxic woman and bring up someone's bad things in the media all the fucking time. I get it, you want to sell books. You're probably mad you didn't get a lot of money from the divorce, whatever. And even if you did, you probably need more. But to put out a book and say every problem you ever had in life is men, that's a little fucked up. Or is it men? Because guess what? We are the problem that women have with everything. We are. I don't mind being, but women are also the problem we have with everything. Men are ruined gay men too. Women ruin gay women too. We all stink. We're all pieces of shit. If we all wrote a book about people being crazy, there'd be a billion books on being crazy. Who's a piece of shit in the story? Dan Brown, please go first.
You know what, girlfriend? That John Mulaney is a dirty dog. If you can't handle her at her worst, you don't deserve her at her best. Mm-hmm.
I like Dan Sassy, Black Snap.
So who's the piece of shit? I mean, I enjoyed that, but you just were a woman. I don't know what.
I mean, like so she was in the hospital and John Mulaney did a bunch of coke and left her after he.
Well, no, she wasn't in the hospital then. Afterwards, after the rehab and after the divorce. Because he got out and then asked for a separation and got divorced. Then she said she was hospitalized.
I'm sticking to my sassy lady analysis.
No, that was a great impression. Is she the piece of shit, or is she calling? And you're channeling her. Are you calling Mulaney the piece of shit?
I think I'm calling Mulaney the piece of shit.
Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure with your new character of sassy woman, which I appreciate. I like a lot. If it's SNL, if you need one more guy, Dan Brown's your guy. He does this great character. He's a sassy lady, and he hates a guy who used to write for you.
And just don't make him choose who the POS is. Other than that, he's golden.
Yeah, he will not ever shit on anybody except for men that are mean. Hey, Bobby.
Dan, I love you. I think you're a wonderful guest, and I always enjoy when we interact. However, I think you really, really missed the boat on this one, unfortunately.
It's almost like you didn't care.
You know what? You're a misogynist.
Oh, yes, I am. And here's why. Why did John Mulaney do drugs?
Oh.
Not because you're feeling some super fulfillment out of life. Not because you're good because you have kids to raise and a wife you love. You got a nagging bitch. That's why you do drugs. Side note, I think it's really cool. The guy who sold John Mulaney his drugs that got him hooked again is the same guy who sold Donovan his drugs when he was in New York. So maybe the guy who sold Mulaney his drugs killed Donovan. We'll never know.
By the way, people don't know his name. That's Crip Daddy again. That's 2 shout-outs for Crip Daddy dying off stuff that wouldn't have killed. Obviously, only killed people whose legs didn't work because Mulaney didn't die. He actually thrived.
Yeah, that's what Donovan was going for, to level up to Olivia Munn. For me, the piece of for me, the piece of shit in this story is the publisher. Dan and Pat, I'm going to ask you one
By the
simple
way, it's
question.
Simon & Schuster, so it's one of the most prominent ones there is.
Well, fuck them.
Yep.
When was America at its peak, Pat and Dan, in your opinion?
When was America at its peak?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Right after World War II, maybe?
1776, baby!
Okay, I'll accept either answer. Because, Dan, I agree. I think it was right after we won World War II. And then that was about 20 years, or one generation, after we gave women the right to vote. So we had one generation of women being active, and everything's been downhill since. They're the source of all of our problems. The shit's biblical. Who ate the apple? Not Adam first. He got tricked by Eve. Women are the problem here. Sure, John, what he did was dirty. But what did you do to drive him to be that dirty? Right? You are the mistake. And yet, how is John the piece of shit here? He had a hot wife, had some kids, did a bunch of drugs, got clean, and is now fucking a hotter girl. That's the American dream. That's what every child should strive for. So for me, the piece of shit's this publishing agency for giving women a voice.
All right, I stand corrected.
No! What is happening here? Okay, first of all, let's address something you just said. Because that made me, I have another great idea. We did before, we had Jake Paul fighting women, we had all these great ideas that are spawning. We had Mike Tyson fighting on Fuck Island. All these things are being spawned today. Great idea. If you're watching this and you need new programming, you should be calling us. We're helping you out.
We should be calling us.
We should be calling us. There's a book that is out now, like I said, called Men Have Called Her Crazy by this woman. It shouldn't be by her. The ultimate memoir would be by Eve, called Men Did Call Her Crazy, the rebuttal to the Bible. You want a fucking memoir, baby. Eve responding to all the shit hate she got in that thing. Maybe she didn't eat the apple. Maybe she did because maybe somebody wouldn't take her out to dinner anymore. Maybe she just wanted to go have a nice salad.
Oh, I bet that's exactly what happened. That sounds exactly like an argument with a woman. I had to eat the poisoned apple because you don't take me out to dinner anymore. You knew it was poisoned. You did it on purpose.
Take me out for ribs, but you can take out your rib and make me? All right, really? Selfish much?
You know what? You don't get to see this beautiful body anymore. I'm going to go put clothes on.
And he's like, fine, I'm going to Gomorrah. It's like, God damn it. Don't go back to I'm going to
I knew you wanted to go to Gomorrah. That's why you don't get hard for me anymore.
The original Epstein Island, Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm going there and hanging out. The piece of shit in this story is not John Mulaney. John Mulaney had issues. If you didn't think that he was having a hard time, if you followed the height of his career, that man was on so much drugs. He was on Broadway with his best friend, pretending to be an old Jew. He did so much they turned it into a fucking Netflix show.
Too much
He had a
tuna.
cartoon about monsters that come out like your puberty and scream at people, and he was helping create that as well. He had one special where he pretended he was Sesame Street and had children on it and went crazy. Mulaney was doing wild shit all the fucking time. Anything he could do to be on drugs and stay away from that woman. But it's also not that woman. Listen, you get divorced, you're with somebody when they're rising up. They become this big thing. They leave you. He in all your specials, he talks about how great you were. How in one of the jokes that I love the most that I relate to, he says that he was never able to stand up for himself, and then finally he was with a Jewish woman, and then she could do it for him. That's who she is in those jokes. So she was the big star. She appreciated that kind of things. I'm sure she got some Broadway things and other media things because of her connections with Mulaney. I'm not saying that she earlier in his career didn't help him too. I'm sure it was a team. If they're both people in entertainment, I don't know that part of the story. She's definitely allowed to speak her story. And people love stories like that. When a white man is doing well, women love a book on how that white man is a piece of shit and ruined everything. So why not put that out? That's juicy gossip. When I saw it, I read about it. I brought this up because, hey, it's fucking, why not? Come out, do your fucking thing. Then what this does is inspires John Mulaney in an upcoming special to talk about this fucking memoir written about him, and that'll be great material. So this will all sprint around. It's not Simon and Schuster. Who's really jumping at books anymore? A lot of his audiobook, but everyone who could have been an author back in the day, who's a young 20-year-old writing type person, is doing podcasts and things of that nature. They're not really putting pen on paper anymore. So when you find something that can jump at it, you fucking do it. You go after it and you put it out there. The piece of shit in this story is Olivia Munn. You know what, bitch? You can fuck anybody you want. You're goddamn Olivia Munn. You're fucking John Mulaney, a guy who everyone thought was gay anyway. That's what everyone thought this was all about. Not about drugs or whatever. It was that Mulaney was struggling with his fake heterosexuality. And now, what he's doing now is going, you think I'm gay? I'll double down. I'll be with a very attractive woman, a famous attractive woman. A woman that won't mind if I'm touring around, banging other men like Nick Kroll and stuff like that. I love Mulaney. I don't care if he's gay. Guy's gay as shit. Look at every way he acts. Even in his jokes, he's like, I was supposed to be gay, and then God forgot to flip the gay switch. I've never said that about myself ever. There is not one time, and I'm not bashing gays, but there isn't a time in my life like, well, God forgot to flip the gay switch. By the way, Kish, how are you, sir? Didn't mean to throw you in the gay thing. Just saw your name. How are you? The piece of shit in this story is Olivia Munn. Getting pregnant with a gay man so you can have a pretty cool baby. I get it. It's going to be a fun baby, but that's going to be weird. As soon as that baby is 4 years old, they are going to be separated and gone. And then at one point, Mulaney will be much older.
1 second.
And when they bring back Hollywood Squares, Mulaney will be the gay middle square because they always need one, and he'll be on that one. That's who the piece of shit is. Bobby had to go answer the door because guess who's at the door? Olivia Munn. She's like, I heard about you, Bobby. You seem like a straight guy. So that was saying Olivia Munn was at your door, and she was coming to say hi to you.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that bitch.
Hang on 1 second. All right.
Well, we're going to end the show right now anyway. So, want to thank everybody for watching today. We appreciate you. Monday, 8 a.m. again, every weekday morning, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we do this show. Tuesdays at 8 p.m., we do our regular POS show. Thank you for everyone watching. Kish, sorry you just jumped in now, but we'll definitely talk to you soon. Kish says hi to you, Dan, as well. Brandon, everybody that jumped in, Jim, Wesley too, Electric Boogaloo, everybody that was hanging out with us today, we appreciate you. If you're following us on, if you're watching us on Twitter, if you're watching us on Bobby's Instagram, head on over to our YouTube channel. You're watching it through the video there. Hit subscribe. Please get the notification so you know when the shows come on. We really appreciate you doing that. Like the video, bam, 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 all that fucking shit there. If you're watching Steel Toe in the Morning, go fuck yourself. I don't know why I keep fighting with them. They don't know who we are. I've never actually watched the show. It's just fun to say. Bobby, have a great weekend in North Carolina. Have fun with the shows. I appreciate
Thank you, sir.
you being doing that stuff. Dan, you're not a bum. You're the wind beneath my wings. I think you're great. Thank you for joining us this morning. And Bobby, you like to end us every day with a fucking fun quote or inspirational type thing, so why don't you do that?
Here's my inspirational type thing. Just because everybody calls you gay doesn't mean you can't do a bunch of drugs and fuck Olivia Munn.
Well, Bobby and Dan have part of that.